As we're hiking in the Charmley Wilderness Park, we thought we'd take this opportunity to talk about one of the favorite boats we've seen during our boat shopping, and that's the Beneteau 473. It's not a size of boat that we really thought that we'd be interested in, but we wanted to take a look anyway, and we really liked it, especially that nice large cockpit with the two helms. And honey, what else did you like about the Beneteau 473?
Yeah, and just to add, the Charmley Park here is on the very north end of Malibu. It's operated by the city of Malibu. Really spectacular here. So on the Beneteau 473, there's a lot to like. So It's a 47-foot length overall sailboat. It I just nearly stepped on a lizard there, yikes. Oh, no. It has an enormous cockpit, so people who've written about it say that it could seat up to 12 relatively comfortably. The particular boat we looked at is in Channel Islands Marina. It has a nice combination of Dodger connector piece and Bimini. The connector piece wasn't up, but oh my gosh, like the Bimini, and then with all the isinglass around the Bimini, it's just massive around the dual helm area, and more of the beam is aft. So the cockpit is just immense, so very comfortable for lounging.
So also in the cockpit, I really like the storage and the accessibility of the storage. That's something I always look at, because often I'm the crew, so I need to be able to access things quickly. And this particular one had French doors for the entry, which is nice, because then you don't have to find a place to stick your companionway doors.
And then down below, it's a Finot design boat. So the wood is spectacular. It's a darker cherry colored, it's actual real wood. If memory serves me right, it's similar to mahogany, but a slightly different but similar wood that's cherry colored stained. Very large galley, quite a bit of storage in the galley.
And then there's also that extra storage room that can be accessed from the cockpit or from the galley.
Right on the starboard side of the boat. That's your big storage garage in the 2-cabin version, which is the one we looked at. And then your aft cabin is an absolutely immense king size, I think even bigger than king size berth. And then you have an aft head that is kind of set up as your guest stateroom and guest head, with a shower included.
I liked also the galley with the refrigerator and freezer. The refrigerator had a front opening access, which is always really handy, and just plenty of storage space, and just like Blair said, really, really beautiful.
So normally on the Beneteau 473, the salon area will have a large dinette table and large dinette seating all the way around on the starboard side, and then with a bench more toward the middle, just slightly starboard of the bilge sole boards. And then normally, but on this boat, that bench is absent. And then normally on the port side, you'll have a relatively long, comfortable settee going opposite the dinette area. On this boat, it's interrupted. I think my understanding is they had a custom wood piece built to integrate in with the aesthetics of the wood, that goes right in the middle of that settee. For us, we probably would prefer to just have it as the full settee. It's going to be a lot more comfortable for lounging.
And it had a centerline berth in the forward cabin and 2 heads, and it looked pretty comfortable to me. A good beam, so some width there.
So going back up top, there's some interesting things about this boat. It's the only sailboat we've seen yet that had the in-boom furling. It has the leisure furl, which is a famous, at least in California, version of in-boom furling. Integrated with that is an interesting sort of sleeve that goes all the way up the mast, that just integrates as part of that whole system. So you would just use your main halyard, which has an electric winch, to pull that up, and of course when you reef, you just dial it in. You know, furl it back partially into the boom.
As we continue with our tour of the Beneteau 473, we go up to the beautiful foredeck, and you can see that there's plenty of room and lots of handholds for maintaining your balance when you're out on a rough sea. You'll also notice lots of hatches and ports for letting in light and fresh air. Here's a view of that roomy cockpit again with the dual helm. There are 3 electric winches and French doors to access the companionway. Here's a look at the swim step, and there's also a davits with a dinghy. Here's another look at that immense storage space that can be accessed through the galley or above on the starboard side in the cockpit. Back in the galley, you see the range, the microwave, and the abundant storage. As we mentioned before, there's a top-loading freezer and a front-loading refrigerator. There is also a double stainless steel sink. The nav station has its own space. There are storage lockers in the salon, and of course extra storage under the cushions. Entering the owner's cabin, you can see that it's a center-line berth with lots of storage and its own head. I particularly like these large drawers that are located underneath the berth. This head is a little bit roomier than the aft head with its own separate shower space. And here's one more look at that light-filled salon.
Okay, we've taken the trail to the ocean overlook, and we found this lovely bench to relax on for a few minutes while we finish up telling you about the Beneteau 473.
Yeah, so like most boats, of course, it has a furling Genoa. Good sized sail area. This boat has a PHRF of 66, which is a lot faster than any boat we've looked at. But you kind of expect that as you get bigger. Generally, you'll get a lower PHRF, but very fast sailboat. It does have high freeboard, especially up toward the bow. And so luckily this boat has a bow thruster. I would tend to say there were 473s that don't come with a bow thruster. It was an option. But with this much freeboard, in talking around, people say you'd want to have a bow thruster for this. This particular boat also has some degree of solar, as well as a very nice, I believe it's about a 6 kilowatt generator.
Yeah, one of the things I liked about on the foredeck is there were these chrome bars, metal bars that or on both sides of the mast to support, and they're nice, easy to grab when you're trying to access the foredeck as well.
Yeah, and they're designed specifically to support humans. So as you're up there working, if you were to get thrown a little bit in moderate or even slightly heavier than moderate seas, something easy to grab right nearby the mast. But yeah, just for getting up, and the foredeck is just massive.
So in conclusion, on the Beneteau 473, I would say that was probably one of my favorite boats we've seen so far.
Yeah, I would completely agree. It's a spectacular boat. I think really the only negative you have to consider is it does have the really high freeboard forward. So it's just going to mean if you're in a windy anchorage, you're going to get blown around a bit, but you can mitigate that by hopefully, staying in better anchorages if at all possible. But this is a huge boat that can go, most places in the world. It's really incredible. You have to consider that being this large, the maintenance expense is going to be more, and of course your initial cost will be more as well. This particular boat, this is in March of 23, and it's listed at $227,900. So it's an expensive boat as well.
So with that said, we just really want a boat so we can get back out there because our boat has been sold. So if you are interested in this particular boat, it is listed with Seacoast Yachts in Oxnard.
And the listing agent is Bob Nahm, N-A-H-M. Great fellow.